meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. First item we have is a public meeting. I ask if there's a disclosure of interest. As there is none, there's a resolution that's been moved to second, adopting the agenda as presented. Any additions, changes, all in favor? Opposed, carried. The clerk will now read the procedures for a public meeting. Please.
This is a public meeting to consider amendments to the zoning bylaw under the Planning Act RSO 1990 as amended. The act requires that a public meeting be held prior to council passage of any zoning bylaw amendment. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of Oliver Papoonge before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the municipality of Oliver Papoonge to the Ontario Land Tribunal and may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so.
Thank you. This evening, our public meeting is in regards to application ZBLA 01-2024 on behalf of Paul and Eleanor Vellinga for approval of a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject land being Oliver Concession 2 South Part Lot 10, known locally as 4754 Oliver Road, from light industrial to rural residential. This amendment is to permit the creation of a new residential lot for future retirement plans. I would ask the planning department to read the report, please.
Thank you. So as you mentioned, an application has been received to rezone a portion of the land locally known as 4754 Oliver Road. The applicants have already submitted a consent application being 1B0224 that was provisionally approved on February 8th, 2024. A condition of that consent includes this rezoning amendment. The subject land is located just west of the Merlot Village on the abattoir property. Notice was circulated 20 days prior to this evening's meeting with a mail out to property owners within 120 meters. Notice signs posted on the property and agency staff emails sent out 20 days as well. The official plan designates this property as rural. The rural area consists of lands that are considered to contain the least suitable lands for agriculture, contain clusters of rural residential uses, and have the potential to accommodate a range of resources and non-resource related uses consistent with the rural character of Oliver Papoonge. As this application for a zoning amendment proposes to rezone lands from light industrial to the less intensive use of rural residential to create a new residential lot, the application conforms to the official plan. The current zoning of the property is light industrial. The light industrial zoning has been in place for years as it supports the primary use of the property being an abattoir. Rezoning from an intensive use such as that in the light industrial zone to any type of residential use requires a record of site condition to ensure the lands are appropriate and safe to accommodate the new use. A record of site condition has been completed on these lands to support this rezoning, and nothing was noted of concern. The area is a mixture of rural residential, rural, and general agricultural uses outside of this light industrial property. Rezoning from light industrial to rural residential complies with the designation of the land and fits with the existing uses in the area. So this application would conform to the zoning bylaw. Section 1.1.3 of the provincial policy statement states that the vitality and regeneration of settlement areas is critical to the long-term economic prosperity of our communities. Development pressures and land use changes will vary across Ontario. It is in the interest of all communities to use land and resources wisely to promote efficient development patterns, protect resources, promote green spaces, ensure effective use of infrastructure and public service facilities, and to minimize unnecessary public expenditures. The proposed amendment will promote efficient development patterns and protect resources, keeping our municipality's rural character, and therefore complies with the provincial policy statement. The only agency comments we received on this application were from the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority, stating that they have no objections to the proposed amendment. These comments were forwarded to the applicant as well. No comments were received from any neighboring properties or from staff, and the new lot will be accessed from its own driveway as the sightlines are appropriate to accommodate this. Based on a review of the applicable policy documents, the proposed zoning amendment is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms to our official plan, and therefore it would be recommended that it be approved.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if the applicant is here. No, I don't see them. So I will ask if there is anyone in the audience who supports this application and would like to speak. Is there anyone in the audience who objects to this application and would like to speak? As there is none, is there any questions the council may have of the planner in regards to this application? Councillor Viss?
Yeah, just for clarification, are they rezoning the whole property or just the lot that they want to take off for residential use?
Only the proposed lot for,
Okay, then the second question, it states in here, they have 2 lots off Bealey Road. My picture shows 4. Which one is the correct one? In the application says 2, but yet it shows 4 here. on
there's
the-
4 off of Ely Road, but they were created years ago.
They were prior to that
Oh, yeah.
time. One other question then, to the east, there's 2 lots there. They are rural also, are they not?
They're rural residential.
You're right.
Yeah.
Good, thank you. That's all. Your clarification.
Any further questions? As there is none, we will, as there is none, we will be considering this application later on in our meeting. I have a resolution to adjourn the meeting. It's been moved and seconded, the time being 5:06 PM. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We will now continue with our regular meeting. I will call the meeting to order and ask if there's a disclosure of interest. As there is none. I have a resolution adopting an amended agenda. It's been moved and seconded with the addition of 6X Thunder Bay District Veterinary Services Committee Agenda Minutes and Statement of Accounts. And I report 2024-58 Coley vacant land condominium, additional information. It's on your desk. There was some additional information we received. And also under new business 12A, an email from Rob Dubinsky requesting a council member to make a welcoming remark at the Northern Ontario Mixed Provincial Championships on April 3rd, 2024. So this resolution has been moved and seconded. Any further additions or changes? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The first item we have on our agenda today is the deputation by Rachel Rosengren in regards to tiny home. If you'd like to come forward, please. And just push the button so it's green, then we'll know the audience can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Oh, yeah, green again. They're muting me already. Okay. As you know, we've been here before with the tiny home issue. We are now experiencing it again. And so I'm here before you because since then, there's been a lot going on with the federal, provincial. Trudeau was just in here for affordable housing, et cetera, et cetera. There's been the provincial mandates and requirements and stuff like that that are going with smaller homes and basically eliminating the square footage on stuff. So we're coming back here because I've been talking with MMNA, or too many acronyms for me, and the ministry there, and they basically said that in the zoning official plan, there is no square footage required for housing. So it's not in there, so nothing has to be done with the official plan. It's in the bylaws that this lies. And that's where the issue becomes. And as council, you guys can override or even eliminate it because Economy, O'Connor, Shunya have all done it. They've gotten rid of the minimum square footage. I know last meeting, there was one on the secondary dwelling, and you raised the question of Lucy about whether or not it's a primary one, but you guys are getting rid of it on the secondary dwelling. So this, with all that's going on and the trends and affordable housing, all that sort of stuff that's going on in the province and in the country, is an issue that you guys need to address now so that we can then move on with the proper procedures, because it doesn't matter the square footage of a house if you still construct it according to the building code. And that would still be applicable. And there's also in your bylaws, you have that after 107 square feet, you have to apply for a building permit anyways, so you're covered that way. MPAC will do the assessment. It doesn't matter the square footage. They will tell you guys what to tax the base on. So they'll do that sort of stuff. So there's nothing here that's hindering us or the council or Oliver Papoonge from getting rid of this minimum square footage. Each one of the charts in the bylaws has, right at the bottom of each chart, has the minimum square footage. Okay, for me personally, I'm going after the rule, the one that zoning for the tiny home, but it comes to fruition, you might as well do it for all of them. Is get rid of the minimum square footage, because that would eliminate a lot of different stuff. Okay, I think most of the stuff that I have covered. Then there's the other one that I wanted to address too, that sort of came up afterwards, but I'm going to address it. I want to know, this question comes, is this municipality a complaint-based by law enforcement or not? That's got to be a question that's got to be addressed, because the complaint that came against us, there was no complaint. According to what I was told, there was no complaint. Okay, so all of a sudden now we're into a situation again we were before, where we brought it to council, there was no complaint, yet the bylaw enforcer was there to talk to us. So we presented, and then it led to all this stuff. Now it's again doing the same thing. So I want to know, it was stated last meeting that we are complaint-based, yet there was no complaint against the tiny home. And yet I had a thing from the bylaw enforcer. Basically, with the affordable housing, the 860 square feet of the minimum minimum square footage, it's been told to me that there's now with the building prices the way they are, you're at $300 a square foot. And that doesn't include your well, septic, electrical, your lot. So now you're looking at $258,000 by your bylaw that the person has to spend minimum, plus all the other stuff on top of it. Most younger people cannot afford to spend $500,000 when everything's said and done on this sort of stuff. So it would be beneficial for the community to increase the amount of people here. And the person that sort of had the questions before, we talked to him. He's okay with it as long as everybody pays their fair share of taxes. That was his concern with us. We addressed some other things, and he come and took a look, and he's fine with everything now. But that's, we have had everybody there. We've had our septic all done, all inspected, all ready to go. We had our electrical, we had everything ready to go. We're just waiting on our building permit. The building permit, as I told the bylaw enforcer, I can't get one because I don't meet the 860 square feet. So I can't apply because it won't be accepted. So we're in a catch-22 position until this goes. A lot of the other people that I talked to in provincial levels and other municipal levels are saying, well, why? Just, it's gonna come eventually. Just like they said, there's no non-conforming regulations, minor variances and other things that could happen. But they said, why? When this should be happening anyways. So I'm here to put forward that we move further to what was held last time and get rid of the minimum square footage on all the different properties.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm sure that we will be getting a report from the planning department in regards to your comments and your questions. And we'll be getting that at a future meeting. Thank you very much for coming this evening.
Thank you.
The next item on our meeting on our agenda is the minutes of the council meeting held on February the 28th. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve those minutes as presented. Were there any errors or omissions on those minutes? If none, we have a resolution on favor. So, yeah. Was there any items that you would like to discuss on those minutes, page 18 to 32? As there is none. We have the bylaw enforcement report on page 33. Our bylaw enforcement officer is here. If there's any questions you have on his report, on any of his items. Councillor Calvert?
I see this dog owner's been charged at the third strike on this guy, so that's why it was the.
Yes,
charges were filed.
that's correct.
Okay, that's what I figured.
The other ones were all given warning letters and haven't had any complaints since. Like I said, the 3 strikes, the owner was charged because it was the 3rd complaint and he got the provincial offense notice under the bylaw, so.
Any other items? Did you have something further to report to us?
Just another quiet month, now that the snow's going, it's probably gonna start, picking up, and that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item we have is the minutes of the Fire and Emergency Services meeting held on February 21st, page 34 to 40. Is there any questions you have of our fire chief in regards to those minutes? Questions, comments? Sean, is there anything you'd like to bring forth to us, please?
Yeah, just excuse me, a couple things. We had another structure fire on the weekend. Lost a garage on 130. And I'm just trying to find my notes here. Just a call volume update. I've got my annual report coming in next for the next meeting. But my apologies here. We I think this, as of today, we're at 68 calls. This time last year, we were at 95 calls for service. So there is a bit of a drop. It appears that this MPDS system has reduced the number of medical callouts, although it's really too early to get a good sense on it. We had basically 5 calls yesterday, so there's still a significant call volume. I think that's all I had.
Okay, any other questions of the fire chief? Yes.
So the new system for classifying the calls, is it, are they running it as a trial? Are they trying to iron out bugs right now? Or is this what they're planning on rolling out across the province?
No, it's implemented. It's not a trial. When I say it's too early to get a sense on what it's going to impact us, it's just with the new system, figuring out which calls we're actually going to and not, and whether that's dropping our call volume. But it's in place, it's running, and I don't think they're going to change it.
Generally happy with how that's going? Like, do you see that it has any deficiencies or anything?
There are still calls that we're getting that I question. But like I say, until I get some more data on it and then look at the calls and look at the color coding on why we got called to them. It's really too early to comment on it. I just know the call volume is down. we're down by, basically 30 calls, over last year today, so.
Okay. Righty. Next, we have our building department report, page 41 to 43. Had some building permits issued. And then we also have a list on page 43 of those that are we're tracking, they haven't been issued yet. They're on hold or not complete. Then we have the monthly planning report, and we have Carrie here. If you'd like to start with with your report, then we will continue right into the applications.
Sure. So all the February decisions were approved with the typical conditions. For March, we actually only have one application now, one B0624, one B05 and one B06. Oh, sorry, 107. It should be for number 2. 05 and 06 have been withdrawn. But they're looking for further information before they proceed. So we just have the one application for a lot addition. Otherwise, if there's any questions, happy to answer
Okay,
those.
so we'll just look at that one right now. It's on page 64 to 73, and you would like our comment on that application?
Yes, please.
And this is the property on Berry Drive. Was there any concerns?
Addition.
Yes, Councillor Kempoff.
So the small lot that's in between, that's owned by a different party?
No, that's owned by
Yes,
it's owned by a different party, but it's
it's the agent.
the agent. It's owned by the agent of the,
Okay.
on the
Oh, so,
application.
okay, so they, gotcha. Yeah, which is, yeah, so they're related parties that own all 3 of these lots then, or
Yeah,
the,
no, this one large lot is owned by the son, and the lot additions going to that
to the
lot
son, but the small lot is owned by the
parent.
parent then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a house on it. The other one does not. Any concerns? Any? No, so we have a resolution moved and seconded in regards to application 1B0724 of no concerns. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have the application, discussion on the application that we had the public meeting on, which is the ZBL A01-2024 Thunder Bay Meats. We have a resolution that's been moved and seconded. It is open for discussion. Any comments, any concerns? Councillor Kempoff?
So would this, include a new driveway, or would they, do we have any idea if they'd be using the existing driveway as a shared entrance or something, or? Because I'm wondering, does the existing driveway for the abattoir come off this lot?
No,
No,
No.
no, it's to the
Right
west.
beside.
This one will
Must
have
be
its own
close, though.
driveway.
it
Okay.
is fairly close.
Okay, there, I'm assuming there wouldn't be any concerns, because it's certainly no closer to the corner than the existing one then.
Correct.
Councillor Viss?
Just one clarification. It says record of site condition has been completed. Who did the site inspection on that?
I believe it was North Rock. I believe it was North Rock Engineering.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? So we have a resolution. It has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have a resolution, page 79 to 83. It's been moved and seconded in regards to authorization of the CAO to issue a letter of concurrence in regards to the proposed telecommunications tower located at 874 Pole Line Road. It has been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion. No questions? concerns? Again, I will call. The resolution has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have a resolution moved and seconded in regards to policy 060201 in regards to specialized studies and peer review policy. It is open for discussion. Councillor Viss.
Yeah, just a question. The intent of this is just to put policy in place. We haven't selected any one application yet where we're gonna do the peer review on. Is that, do I understand this to be correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. because,
It's
you know,
just to, it's just to allow us the opportunity to do
Alright.
it if necessary.
So, and if there's one needs to be coming, then you'll bring that forth, but we have to have this in place prior to that, then, is that what I understand?
That's correct.
Okay, as long
Yes,
as that's
this would
clear.
call, this would cover all future
Yeah,
applications.
as long as that's clear.
Councillor Campa.
Do we have any danger of getting pushback from MMAH or anyone else has exercises some type of control over us because we're trying to be a little bit too restrictive or something like that? Is that a risk?
I actually spoke with the MMH about this, and they said that most municipalities are starting to implement a policy like this and that they support that. We need to look at having the option to be able to do this since we're not receiving the comments anymore that we used to.
But the applications will still be sent to all the ministries for comment if they wish.
That's correct.
Yes. Any other questions? No, so we do have a resolution moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have a received report 2024-44 in regards to the calendars. It was decided at the budget that we would do it again this year. So is the question again, are we doing it or?
It seems to continue to come up at council meetings, so March is typically when I would do the initial push. So we just wanted to confirm that it is council's intent to move forward with the calendar before I do that.
I believe we voted for it during budget and approved it, so I would say yes. Is anyone disagree with that or all moving forward?
I don't disagree with it, but I think we gotta look at the trend, eh? Like, undoubtedly, we haven't been getting the same amount of sponsors, so if it's gonna continue to decline, you come to a point where it really isn't worth it, eh? Like,
For next
that's,
year's budget,
yeah,
we
for
can look
next,
at it.
yeah.
Okay,
There are other options that we can look at too, in a way that we can do it that might be more like frugal and stuff, so.
okay. Now, we have report 2024 to develop a not-for-profit corporation to build and operate a Lively seniors housing project in Roslyn. We have a resolution that's been moved and seconded. There has been a change in the last sentence. The last sentence has been removed. I'm not sure if you could see that, Councillor Camp, because it was removed in the resolution they signed.
I can clarify.
It's on page 5 of the agenda, the resolution. And the last line has been removed and the planner can explain why that has happened.
So on page 92, the initial, I guess it's the second paragraph of the report that's indented. The way that it was reading was that there were 5 separate property management corporations owning each one of the 5 units that are depicted in the plan. It's only a single property management corporation that would own all 5 of the units. So we just changed the wording to make that more clear.
Okay. So again, the resolution has been moved and seconded and is open for discussion. Councillor Viss.
Yes, just for clarification's sake, and I want to refer to page 97 where it said that they pumped a combined rate of 86,400 liters a day for a period of 4 days. That's an awful lot of water. I understand that. And the demand for them would be about 30,000 a day for the that put into place for 250 liters per person, that would cover 120 people. The thing I have with this here, and I need to have clarification on this, by the end of the test period, groundwater levels had stabilized and showed a total of approximately 18 meters down drawn. After the pumps were turned off, groundwater leveled and recovered to original static condition, of course, 6 days. Do I understand it took 6 days to come up 18 meters? Is that correct? Is that how I understand? That's how I understood that. Is that good for recovery? I don't know. It is an awful lot of water. There's no doubt. When I looked at, it's only, having this, you're only using 1/3 of the water that you're pumping out.
That's right. They pumped out 86,000,
The
so
only thing is when you go flip back over further down into page 105, if they expect to use 43,540 liters a day. Yeah, I just for clarification, because I think it's enough pile of water to pump out, but the only question we as council will get is probably on the water situation. We need to be very clear on what he's saying is there's no problem with water. As long as, somehow we need to have that very clear, because I think it has, but somebody comes to me and said, well, wait a minute, it takes 6 days, but my recovery is 3.5 or 4 hours or something. How do I explain that to them? We just need to know that.
well, this was a recovery that took 6 days, but it was pumping out
Oh, I
86,000.
understand that. There's a
So-
pile of water.
But I mean, if you're not pumping that much and you're only pumping out 30,000 a day, then it's not going to take 6 days to recover. It's going to
I
take a lot
understand, and
less
that
time.
was my point. I thought,
Yes.
why didn't we get closer to reality that, because we pumped, when we dug our well, we pumped it, and then you see we stopped, and then we watched it come back. We didn't go 4 days, no. But you see that, what I'm trying to get at is just, I want to be very clear, and all of us should be on that same page to make sure how that goes, but Bernie might have an answer.
Yeah, I'm not an engineer. So the discrepancy that you noted with the 43,000, that was in the septic study. So it's a separate study. So it's based on, which is, I'm assuming that's good, that the septic study was based on potentially a higher number than the use study. So there's a margin of error in there. But I think we need to remember, and it, like the engineers, number one, the engineers say that it's not a problem, and that's what I would hang my hat on. But you need to remember, in a situation like residential, the vast majority of the water that gets used is going right back down the drain and right back into the aquifer. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge margin of error when you're looking at pumping almost 3 times the potential maximum use. And I'm assuming they removed the water to be able to get the drawdown that they did. And then it came back, and then they're still saying it's good. So I'm certainly comfortable with the numbers. And like I said, number one, it was done by a reputable engineering firm that is coming up with the conclusion that there's no issue here.
When I read this, my interpretation was that was 4 days of pumping 86,400. So that means there's approximately 360,000 liters taken out. And then after that, it took 6 days to bring it back. So it was 360,000 liters of water pumped over 4 days.
Well, the reason why I'm asking a question, nobody else picked one up, but I just hydrological study from another area, and they have 2 wells, and the recovery rate on one well was 3.5 minutes, and the other one was 6 or 8 minutes. And I thought, how do I compare that from here to there? You see, and I'm not an engineer. That's why I asked the question. I want to be very clear, because I think he's got piles of water. When you
Yes.
pump that much of water, that's unreal amount of water when you're only going to use 1/3. But I just want to have an answer for somebody phones. That's the only thing. I personally think there's plenty,
Mm-hmm.
but how do I tell somebody?
No, I believe from just reading this that they're okay.
Okay,
And we did request summary statements from each of the engineers just to make that more clear. So the water study itself It says, based on the investigations completed, the deep sand and gravel aquifer system below the subject site has the capacity to meet the projected domestic water supply demand with minimal impact on surrounding existing groundwater users. That's the statement that we needed to see in order to understand that the study is sufficient and there is enough water for the development. So there's no concerns
Okay.
on.
And
our
I
end.
read that night, and that made me say, well, there's gotta be piles of water there if they do that, what they're doing, it's okay. But it's still, I just don't know how to answer somebody if somebody asks me, that's all. But I personally, I don't have a problem with it, I think there's piles of water there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Campa?
So I know we had asked, the engineering firm for I guess a release or something, a letter saying that we could use this study for our purposes, and did we get that?
Yes.
That was the additional
This one,
Okay.
what's on there?
report.
There it is.
It just came,
Oh, like today.
yeah.
Yeah.
They have it at the bottom. Yeah. So it's now in compliance with section 7 of our review policy. So we're okay, we're protected. Any further questions?
Oh,
No, so we do have a resolution, been moved and seconded. All in favor?
yes.
Opposed? Carried. Lots of things to do yet. And the next item we have is the clerk of the works position. Is that actually going to be the title of that person? We have a report, 2024-47 on page 109. And we have a resolution that has been moved and seconded to recommend the creation of that position. It'll be a full-time position, and that person will work for the Director of Operations. I was going to say your name, but I didn't think it would be nice to say your name. Anyway, we have a resolution moved and seconded. Any questions?
Yeah,
for
just for
this?
clarification, when I looked at this, there's 18 items I think you expect this person to do. 19 really kills it, perform miscellaneous job related duties as assigned. There ain't gonna be enough hours in the day to do all this.
Hire a
This is
musician.
unreal. Are we gonna get anybody applying for it when they look at this, say, wait a minute?
So through the chair, the 19 things aren't performed every day. There's some items that are listed there that are monthly or bi-weekly. So it balances their work day where they have data coming in, but they generate a report at the end of the month type of thing.
Okay,
Okay,
it's unreal. Okay,
so you're not going to apply,
oh, definitely not.
Councillor Campoff?
I guess another way to look at it would be if all these tasks are taken away from our Director of Operations, what's he going to be doing?
Number 20. No comment.
Through the chair, I'll be working on the council master plan in regards to what they want us to do.
There we go. Something we want to hear. Okay, again, resolution's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have some tenders to award. The first one is a resolution that's been moved and seconded to award the tender for fuel supply to Morgan Fuels. Any comment or question? Yes.
I'm just curious, so when's the last time we did this?
So through the chair, this is the second time we've done a 3-year tender.
Have we typically seen this much difference between I mean, it's fuel, so. But to me, I was kind of shocked at the difference between the prices because that's pretty substantial.
Through the chair, I believe the last go around in 21 reflected a bigger gap than what's presented here.
Oh, okay.
Councillor Viss?
Just one thing, this bid is tender, their bid is on the rack price, right? So when the rack price goes up, all three of them go the same route, so that, yeah, that's what I thought it was. Thank you.
Okay, we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to purchase a pickup truck from the Danny Motors. The report is on page 114 to 15. Any questions?
Like the number.
There was you did make a slight change between the color or the cab or,
Yeah, through the chair, the original price from Badani was for a color that didn't suit our needs. So they had one sitting in the lot, a lower class of options, and we decided to go that route.
so it went down a bit. Any further questions? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Then we have a resolution moved and seconded to purchase a plow truck from Gincor Trucks. It's a Freightliner. Any questions? Councillor Campoff?
Does this, will this truck be, will anything be sourced through our local dealer or is this just straight through Gincor?
Through the chair, as this was our first canoe purchase, we have dotted the i's and crossed the t and we've been told that the local vendor gets the sale.
Oh, that's good.
Any other questions? Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed, carried.
Can I just go back to,
So-
when's the delivery on this? Did it say?
So the first step was this canoe
Yeah.
procurement. We took the 2 weeks to source this and get the results. The whole intention of canoe, if it came in close to budget, we would not go back to our normal bidding procedures. So we brought this report here to see if you guys were comfortable with the range that we took. We are comfortable with it. So those sort of things will be ironed out in the next couple weeks. But there is vehicles available and there is steel bodies sitting at Gincor currently that meet our spec.
Oh, good. The next resolution's been moved and second to purchase a Public Works suspended heater from Claude Darling. Any questions? Councillor Viss?
Clarification, is that for the new portion? Oh, okay.
Through the chair, it's the last of vintage left in the original area.
Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Calvert?
Yeah, I like the price. It's a lot cheaper, than I expected. That was good. Very nice.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have report number 2024-52 on page 120, and it's a budget variance report, or capital variance report. This is for your information to keep you up to date as to what is happening with the budget in regards to the 3 items that were just purchased. If there's any questions? None? Okay. Next item we have. I thought it was a fire alarm. I was getting ready to run.
Sean, start running.
Okay, as long as the place isn't on fire. We have a resolution moved and seconded in regards to the racetrack power supply easement agreement. The report is in our package. If there are any questions. Councillor Viss.
Yes, just one question. What is the total cost to the municipality when we're all done in and out? Does anybody know? Because they've contributed a bunch of money to doing some of the work, and where are we at? When we balanced all out, what is the cost is it to the municipality?
So through the chair, I know that Mr. Hancher has been back and forth with the proponent in regards to the survey and costs, and I think we've got good news on that front. But the last page, just above Mr. Hancher's signature, it says municipality has not yet been billed for the switch, but the estimated cost is approximately $10,700 out of a $16,000 budget.
And that's the final number.
Well, it's estimated, yeah, at this
Yeah.
time, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's
So kind of 6,000 ahead of the game. Okay. So the resolution's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have the cemetery board vacancy. We have a recommendation, or we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded with 2 options. Either advertising or appointing an interested person. So it is open for discussion. Councillor, or sorry.
I just wanted to comment that the line there about someone approached a counselor, it was the other way around. A counselor had asked an individual if they were interested in the position.
Okay. So your thoughts? Councillor Viss?
Well, seeing I'm on the cemetery board, I was the person that started to find somebody because in the last couple of times, we have very difficult getting anybody on the cemetery board and I spoke to this gentleman, a longtime resident and the family, and what I liked about it, they're from the valley. And we've had all people always from the north and by golly, I said to them, you know, they're not overly anxious to jump on, but I said, there's not a whole pile of meetings, only a couple meetings a year. Unless the province makes some changes in legislation that we have to, then we have to maybe spend some time on it, but otherwise. So he said he agreed that he would go on.
Okay,
I can let you know the name if that's
certainly.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Don Blues.
Okay. So your thoughts, Councillor Campoff?
When because it was only just over a year ago that we put this board together, did we have other people interested?
No.
I'm still the chair.
No, nobody in the wings.
And my thoughts are, it only meets a couple times a year, like Councilor Viss was saying, so it's not like it's a monthly thing, so I think it's a pretty fair thing to offer to Mr. Blues if it's okay.
Okay, so I will call the resolution. The resolution's been moved and seconded that we recommend the vacancy be filled by appointing Mr. Don Blues. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item we have is the multi-year accessibility plan 2024 to 2029 and its policies. It's provincially mandated plan, I believe. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this plan? Mr. Campoff?
Is there materially anything different from the last accessibility plan done 5 years ago? Much difference?
So pretty much kind of items, based on changes in legislation, not significant.
Okay, any further discussion, questions? Resolution's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We then had a post-Roma 2024 conference meetings. There was some meetings that were held via Zoom here in Oliver Papunch because they could not meet with us in Toronto. And I'd like to thank Councillor Campoff and Councillor Calvert for attending with the administration. Perhaps you would just like to go over them very quickly. The different topics we had.
Sure, okay. The first part was we talked with the Hydro One persons. And the issue was connecting to the grid in Murillo and the lengthy period to get service. And you see the discussion there on page 186 about that. The Murillo distribution station or system doesn't have enough capacity to take solar panels. So that was the issue there. They mentioned that OPG is, as a part of its overhaul of its generating station, going to be paying to have the Murillo distribution station improved. We did ask them, okay, you're going to improve it. Will that allow other parties to get solar generated power onto it? And then they were supposed to get back to us, but we haven't got an answer yet. And then the other part about the lengthy period to get service from Hydro One, they did admit that they had some problems when they moved their offices out of Thunder Bay to Sudbury, but say things are getting better. And they still say they have their supervisors here to troubleshoot issues. So that was what they had commented on. With the MTO, we talked about the Highway 1117 safety. And the idea was spurred on by the petition for a crosswalk last fall. And during the meeting, we advised that it would be better to have traffic lights at Florence, there where the post office is, because then the vehicles can enter the highway and also get pedestrians across the street. MTO's view is you need to move traffic. But they said they would be doing traffic counts again, and we said that we had information, speed data from our radar signs that we could provide to them, so that's what will be happening with that. We talked about the permanent radar speed display signs. This was kind of been going on for a while. I recall we went to Roma and we believed that we were going to be approved to have these permanent signs on the corridor there, and when we got back, it didn't happen. There was some resistance to what we were trying to do. So at this meeting, what we're going to be doing is providing them engineered drawings and the design of the poles to the traffic engineers at MTO, and they'll be looking at that for us. And it sounded pretty positive, I thought. Then we talked about the Highway 130 Arthur Twin City Crossroad, mentioning that initially the council had wanted to get a channeled intersection lights, and we had sent a resolution of council last December to MTO asking about a roundabout, and they had the director that was on this, Carl Herb Villeneuve, he had written us a letter saying they're going to stick with the channelized intersection solution. But during this meeting, we discussed that with them, and they said they would be providing a summary of how that decision was made, and they haven't provided it yet. Then we talked with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, and the one was about the provincial policy statement review and the one window planning. And the provincial policy statement review is still in progress. It's been in progress for, I believe, over a year now, or longer, over a year. And we asked about the issue we were just talking about tonight, the specialist studies and the one window planning system. It used to be that the ministries would provide some comments on specialist studies. The ministry people at this meeting just kind of said that you're the planning authority, so you need to manage that yourselves, and you can talk with the ministries that about getting information about the subject matter and so forth, but they don't provide any judgment type comment. The next part was about Lakehead Rural Planning Board, and the answer was they're still looking at that issue. We've been bringing that up for many years now.
Did you have something, Carrie?
LRPB was actually just awarded special business funding in the amount of 25,000 to go towards our official plan and zoning amendment that came in at the end of last week.
Nice, very nice. That'll help with your official plan and zoning. Good.
The last part, we asked about the Building Faster Fund that was announced at AMO in 2023. And at Roma in 2024, Premier Ford said it was going to be out a couple of weeks. And on the 27th of February, they said it was going to be out in a couple of weeks as well. And during the conversation, what we brought out was that the main part of the BBF, the 90% for the large municipalities is already rolling out, and municipalities are getting money for doing infrastructure and what have you to support housing, whereas the 10% reserved for the small municipalities is not rolled out yet.
Councilor Campoff?
One thing to add, the meeting with Hydro One. So we had discussed the fact that they're going to be looking at upgrading the Merlot distribution station. And Hydro said that they're trying to get OPG to pay for it. But if we have information or if we have residents that have plans to do small scale generation, they should I guess through us, we should let Hydro One know, because then they can implement that as part of the expansion plan. So, I mean, it's certainly a lot better to be talking about it now before they start putting shovels in the ground. So that was one thing that we did discuss also.
That's good. We can let the people know that are wanting to put in
Yeah.
solar panels.
A lot of residents call us about that. They call Hydro One.
Yeah.
We could just,
Let them know to call Hydro One.
if somebody does call us, we do that, but maybe we could put an article in the newsletter about it or something or other to
Hydro One.
try to get some awareness about it, yeah.
Yeah, there might be numerous people that are looking at doing something like that. We really don't know. And I mean, it's certainly a lot better to get ahead of it, and the capacity increase will be a lot cheaper to do if they do it at the same time they're doing the OPG.
Well, just today, I got a query from some company who's coming to put panels up, and they're asking about licensing processes and so forth. So there is interest in getting panels out, but unfortunately, we don't have an electrical distribution system that can take the power, so.
All right, thank you very much. We now have a resolution in regards to the Heart of the Continent Partnership. It's been moved and seconded to renew our membership again for $500. We're hoping that the museum will be able to make use of this because there'll be a lot of good advertising both in the United States and in Canada. So the resolutions, again, moved and seconded, open for discussion. Yes, Councillor Kempa.
So how active is this organization? Like, do we feel we're getting good value for dollars here?
It's there. It's up to us to use it.
Okay.
So businesses, even local businesses, can individually go to this Heart of the Continent to get advertising put in cross-border.
Okay.
So it maybe should be better advertised in the newsletter to let businesses know that.
Yeah, well, I was on this website of this partnership, and it's quite active. They do have a lot of features on it, and so there's members that are in it that are taking advantage of it, and that's what we would need to do is get involved and provide them with content.
I know when we first started that there was an article in the newsletter telling businesses, go to this email address, and because we're now members, you can get advertising in all kinds of processes in the United States and in Canada. So maybe we should do that every year. Councillor Liz?
Yes, I think if this is approved, I think this should forward this to the museum board for
Yes.
sure, because
Or she can use
all the
it.
plans that they have, if they can get that out there, all the better. Right? So, yeah.
Sure. Again, the resolution's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And Thunder Bay District Vet Services Committee agenda. We received the agenda, the minutes, and there was a resolution. It's not in my package, but I'm sure that the request for the $500, or sorry, yes, $500 they're requesting, which is their normal, the amount that they ask annually. So the resolution's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yes.
The other part is to put Mr. Peter Albers on this committee as well as a counselor.
Yes, as well as a counselor, I believe. Counselor Kamphoff has been on it in the past. Is there anyone else that would like to jump in and take a turn? Just poking Dan. He's looking down, he's trying to look at everyone else. Counselor Kamphoff, would you mind to go on there for another year?
Yes, I can leave my name on there.
Okay.
That's no problem.
So the resolution indicates the approval of the $500 and also submission of the name for Counselor Kamphoff. And it's again open for discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have reports of committees. Lakeland Regional Conservation Authority has sent us their minutes. Mayor's report, just to mention that we are, Chris and I were at the Source Water Protection Committee out in Council Campoff 2 this past week. There will be a report coming to council in the future. I'd just like to meet with Chris and get a little clearer in my head what we discussed, but it has to do with septic systems. And so we will have something for council on that. And there's also at present a ministry that's looking at stopping free water testing. Right now, you can come and get a bottle and have your water tested for free. It's not for all the chemicals, it's just for the basic, just bacteria. They're talking about canceling it, saying you can't get it done for free. We would like to request that council look at passing a resolution that asks them to please not cancel it. It's something that not many people really do, but if it's free. And they also said that they're going to do a pamphlet that will explain all the things you should do to protect your well water, and that they will supply some water bottles here at the office so that they can be handed out if someone comes here and says, I'd like to, sees them and says, what's that for? You can give them the pamphlet and the bottle. Okay. Thank you. Bylaws. This one has been moved and seconded. It's the zoning amendment bylaw for Thunder Bay Meats. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Then we have the bylaw for the multi-year accessibility plan for 2024 to 2029. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Then we have the bylaw, which is the easement agreement with Thunder Valley Development Corporation. It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the final bylaw is the policy in regarding to specialist studies and peer review. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have a list of action items that are in our yellow folder. The new ones are World Autism Awareness Day. There is a resolution that's been moved and seconded in regards to this Awareness Day. It's on April the 2nd. It can be advertised in the newsletter. Any discussion? All in, oh, yes.
Just a question, they say they want us to fly a flag. Was there not a discussion a long time ago with the only flag we'd fly there was a Canadian flag?
The resolution doesn't say we're going to do a flag.
Oh, okay. as
It
long as
only
doesn't say-
states that we're going to proclaim April 2nd.
Because they want you to purchase one and fly
Yeah,
the flag.
we don't fly, we only fly one flag.
Right.
Flag.
Okay, I agree with
You're
that.
right.
Yep, okay,
Okay, so all in favor?
yep.
Opposed, carried. And then there was correspondence in regarding to amending the blue box regulations for ineligible sources. I'm not sure if you wanted that brought back at a future date. And the next one is the increased funding to libraries and museums, and we do have the resolution included in our package. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Then we have the declaration of road safety emergency and municipal highway infrastructure. We do have that resolution in our package. It's been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion. All in favor? Opposed, carried. Potential municipal equipment operator course. We do not have a resolution. I'm not quite sure if there's any need. No, there isn't. Okay. The next one is expanding the life of fire apparatus. We do have the resolution attached. It's been moved and seconded. I asked the fire chief, is this something we should be supporting? Yes. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have the growing concern of cemetery transfers. We did not include the resolution. If you feel that you would like to see it at a further future meeting, we can do that. And also digital publications. Yes.
Just a question, wasn't it the last meeting or meeting before that, there was something where the province said that we have to take them over if they abandon them, those small ones, or am I dreaming that? I
Yeah.
thought it was something we brought up,
We
so,
always have had to.
so if that's the case, then, we'll just do it.
You did already.
Okay. All righty, for information only, we have the comprehensive environmental assessment, the Port Arthur Rotary Club 100th anniversary, Provincial Day of Action on Litter, Roma delegation with the Ministry of Health, and the NOMA board meeting summary. New business. Councillor Campoff.
I'd like to thank the Director of Operations for the great job they're doing snow clearing this winter. They've cleared all the snow, including the snow in the fields and lawns, and good job. So, no, I guess I'm assuming we're having pretty significant budget savings so far.
Through the chair, the budget cycle runs the full year, and the calendar year unfortunately started December 18th, 2023. So if everybody remembers what happened on the 20th to the 27th last year, those costs will be in this budget cycle. So yes, we were behind the 8 ball starting. I think we've recovered, but there's always a chance to put money back into the snow reserve fund should we underspend on our commodities that we purchase.
Perfect. Anything else? Nope. Councillor Biss,
Not a thing.
Councillor Calvert.
I do have one thing for the Director of Operations. I just wondering if the path that's in the industrial Reuben Park there, is there any way of possibly, like, there's been a lot of dirt and that's kind of covering up that path. Anybody go by and just sweep it off with a sweep or something, it's a walking path, and a lot of people are asking me about it.
So through the chair, that has not been swept since I've been here.
Yeah.
We didn't have the right tool to be able to get in there based on the size, but we do have the sidewalk sweeper that we use in Kekabeka, so we will put it on our list of spring sweeping.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I had a couple items, or one item. I wonder if administration could look into this. There's a new law, I believe, coming through, or new regulations saying that any children living within 800 meters of a school must walk. I wonder how that is going to affect Kekabeka. Are we going to have children having to walk across 4 lanes? At one time, we had a crossing guard. Then we had to double up the crossing guard because they were almost getting killed with just having one crossing guard there. I mean, the crossing guard almost got killed. And at that time, the school board said, no, the children cannot cross the road. They have to catch a bus. I would like clarification on that, because if they're not going to supply a bus on the other side of the village, we're going to be in big trouble having those little children cross 4 lanes. So that was brought to my attention by someone in Kekabeka. Secondly, I was invited to host the Northern Ontario Mixed Provincial Curling Championships. Say a few words. Deputy Mayor Dan Calvert, I have a meeting that night. Are you available?
April 3rd?
Yes, Wednesday evening. This is, it's there on, you have the email on your desk and it says the time. So we have a resolution that you will represent the municipality at this event. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. All righty. As there is nothing else, nothing from administration for new business, we will resolve to close session. We have a resolution moved and seconded that we resolve to close session at 6:09 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We will now take a 5-minute break.
How was that? How was that MCO thing?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Everything's.
we
yeah,
have a
we're
resolution.
gonna bring it next meeting, 27th.
We have a resolution to reconvene the council meeting. The resolution's been moved and seconded and that is 6:23 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have a resolution. We have a resolution moved and seconded to reconvene our meeting at 6:23 p.m. and it was passed. We have a resolution that was moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the closed session meeting of February the 28th. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have the confirming resolution. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have a resolution to adjourn our meeting this evening, the time being 6:23 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.